Ms. Harris, you're now recognized for your 5 minutes.
Good morning. First of all, I would just like to thank the committee for inviting me here to testify what happened with me and to give me a voice. So thank you for that. My name is Malinda Harris. I'm 61 years old. I'm a single parent of 3 boys. I was born in Greenville, South Carolina. I currently reside in Springfield, Massachusetts. In 2015, my car was taken from me.
Ms. Harris, forgive me. Will you just make sure you speak directly into your microphone or as close as you can get, just so we don't want to miss any of your important words.
Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me?
That's great.
Okay, great. In 2015, my son, Travis Harris, was coming off a vacation, and he asked if I could pick him up at the airport. I did so, and returning home, he asked if he could borrow my car. I let him. He dropped me off, and about 10:30 that night, I got a phone call from him. I could tell something was wrong, but I wasn't quite sure what, for me to come where to pick my car up at. When I went to pick my car up, as soon as I put my hands on the door handle, about 5, 6 police officers just came from out of nowhere. One of them even had his hand on his holster, and they told me that they were going to seize my car because it was suspected of being involved in criminal activity. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is my car. They wasn't trying to hear it. They told me that I basically, if I didn't give them the keys, the car may be damaged, but whether I give it to them or not, the car was coming with them. They had no warrant. They didn't show me any paperwork. I never got a receipt for my car. Basically told me they were taking the car, and that's what they did. So the next day, I went down to the police station to find out what was going on and how to get my car back. And they wouldn't give me any information, said it was part of an ongoing investigation. And so that was pretty much that. Fast forward in 2000 and I think it was 2020, I got a letter in the mail stating that they were going to keep the car unless I answered to them. I called to find out what needed to be done. They told me I need a lawyer. I couldn't get a lawyer because I couldn't afford a lawyer at the time. And I needed to answer these things I had. They gave me 23 days. And by the time the letter got to me, I had like 2 weeks. And couldn't afford one. Plus with the pandemic going on, you couldn't get a legal aid or anything. So I was kind of left out there again. So I was trying to get more time. I contacted the DA's office to see if I could get more time. They basically told me I needed to get a lawyer to put into for more time to get a lawyer. It was a very difficult time. And if it wasn't for the Goldwater Institute and taking my case pro bono, I wouldn't have gotten my car back. But fortunate for me, they did a great job, and I was able to get the car back, and I was able to give it to Travis's daughter when she graduated. The forfeiture was very, very stressful. And if it wasn't for them, it was a bad timing. My son Travis, let me go say this quickly. My son Travis was killed in 2018, murdered. So, and it was in the same month. So my thoughts were all over the place. It was a very difficult time. And thank you for the Goldwater Institute. My car was returned, so I gave it to my granddaughter. And why I think this reform is important is for a lot of reasons that was already stated, because I don't think people should be allowed to police for profit. And I think that they should have a better burden of proof. And also, if they're going to do it, the money they should be held accountable how the money is spent. And I really think it should go back into the community from which it was taken and do some good there, as opposed to lavish parties and trips to wherever. So once again, I thank you for allowing me to come and share my story. And I truly hope this bill passes because I think it's very important. Thank you.
Ms. Harris, thank you for your wonderful testimony. We're very sorry to hear about the loss of your son. And thank you for joining us today and sharing your story. Ms. Harris, I want to come back to you. What happened when your car got seized, did you have another car?
No, sir, I did not. I ended up in public transportation.
So how long were you without a car before you got your car back? And I know you're one of the lucky ones because you found legal representation, but what was the interval?
It was probably about a year and a half before I could be able to save to purchase another car. Nowhere near as nice or the value of the one that they took, but it did get me to work once I found it.
I'm sorry, but I missed it. How long were you going on public transportation without a car?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half?
Yes, sir.
And then you got your car back, or how did you end up with a new car or a different car?
I was able to get my car back because I was put in touch with the Goldwater Institute, and they do forfeitures and they do pro bono work. And I was very fortunate to get connected with them.
I got you. But so when you got your car back and it was working okay, even though it hadn't been driven for a year and a half?
Well, I had to spend probably about $2,000 to get it to where it needed to be in order to be drivable and whatnot.
Ms. Harris, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing your personal story. So many voices don't have the opportunity to share those stories, and it takes courage to do that. And we thank you for being here today, going through everything you went through, from losing your son to losing your vehicle. So my first question goes to you. Were you ever charged with a crime in this particular incident?
Not only was I never charged with a crime, I was never even accused of a crime, except for when they told them if I didn't hand over the keys that they could then have held me accountable also. Other than that, that's the only thing that ever happened.
Thank you. And I think many Americans would be just surprised and shocked to hear that your assets, your car, your house, your cash could be seized without ever being charged, let alone convicted of a crime. What impact did losing your car for that period of time have on you, your family, and work?
Right. Like I said, it was in the middle of winter. So I was on public transportation in the middle of winter, and I had to pretty much grocery shop. Everything had to be done on the bus system, and at my age, that was not a very pleasant or easy thing to do, but you do what you have to.
Right.
And I forgot to state that, which I think is very important, is that not only did they take my car, they kept my car for 5 years before they even started any type of form of forfeiture action. I hadn't heard anything about that car for 5 years. That's a long time.
So technically you didn't have the vehicle for 6 years. It sounds
yes,
like.
correct.
Okay, six and a half years without a vehicle. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And then
we all appreciate your willingness to share your story on how your car, your only possession, during a time when you were living in a shelter, was seized by the police and impounded for 5 years. It breaks my heart to learn about the hardships and trauma that you experienced. At the same time, my heart swells at your resiliency and your ability, as Chairman Elijah Cummings so often said, to turn your pain into purpose. Ms. Harris, I want to give you an opportunity to share anything about your experience that you would like to add to your opening remarks, such as what was going through your mind in real time when this happened.
I was alone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my voice gets small sometimes. And I just felt like I didn't have any resources. I didn't have any money, so nobody wanted to talk to me. And I just really thought that the car was just gone, because I see it all the time in my community. This is not unusual. And everyone was just telling me that it's just a loss, just a loss. I was going through other things at the time, so I just moved on to what was next, and that was unemployment, find a place to live. You know, those things were more important then. And it, like I said, I already had just said, okay, that's gone, because this is what happens all the time where I live at. It's not unusual, you know, for that to happen.
And thank you for that. And if you can tell us, what did it mean to have your car returned to you after you had written it off as gone for more than 5 years? What was that moment like? And then in what ways did that change and improve your life?
Well, on a personal note, because my son Travis was murdered, being able to get that car back and to give it to his oldest daughter, who just graduated high school and started college, was tremendous, and it left a legacy for Travis, for his daughter, to have something by him for. So it was tremendous. It was uplifting, and it showed not only Kenaya, his daughter, but in our community sometimes it's just like really hard to see that the law works for us, and for that to come back and to get that car, it let my granddaughters know that this system, we are included in the system, and it does work when people treat us fairly and work it. So
that's right. That's right.
So she was able to see that that the law does work when somebody puts in the effort to make it happen. So, and that was something that was big for us.
Thank you. Well, you're modeling the fact that the arc of justice, it has to be, we have to bend it. And so, but I thank you so much for sharing your story. And although it is one that is based in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the policy violence of civil forfeiture is nationwide, as evidenced by the testimony that we've heard here today.
Ms. Harris, the police, as you mentioned in your testimony, drove your car away, and for a reason that you were not completely understood when it was given to you. And they didn't even show you a single slip of paper when they took your car away, right?
Correct.
That is correct. And Ms. Harris, how long did the government take to contact you with a notice after they drove away with your car? You had mentioned it earlier.
5 years.
So they took your car without a shred of documentation, and they took 5 years to get back to you about that.
Yes, correct.
And when they got back to you about that, how long did the government, after they took 5 years of their time, of their sweet time, how much time did they give you to respond to their notice?
I believe it was between 25 and 21 days. And that was what they gave me, and they put the wrong address on there. So by the time I got the paperwork, I actually had 2 weeks.
So any amount of things could have happened. You could have moved. You could have had a change of address. They took 5 years to get to you, and then they gave you 21 days to respond to an enormous asset that they had seized. That's absolutely devastating to just lose overnight. That's what happened?
Yes, correct.
And initially, you weren't even going to pursue recourse because the legal fees associated with getting your car back, before pro bono help was extended to you, you were just going to take it as a loss. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank the Goldwater Institute for stepping up and helping you too, Ms. Harris.